Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is Tyra Omilade, your Goddess Guru, your sister friend. And you know, I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess centered lifestyle. You know, I'm about practical astrology. I'm about success and living the life that you design for yourself. And so, yeah, everything that I do is toward that end. I want women to know that we are empowered and imbued in so many different ways. And so, yeah, let's talk about how the moon is going to help us today. This is the full moon video that I'm making for the Gemini full moon. Honestly, sisters, I have not felt 100%. I'm not sick. I just feel like I'm on the brink of getting sick. And so, you know, the past has taught me don't push when you are recognizing that your immune system is struggling. So I wanted to create this full moon in Gemini video for you all today, where I'll talk about what the moon means in general. I'll also go through the signs, and I have an oracle reading for you at the end. Yeah, you know, Gemini is a very fun sign. So I just wanted to do something a little bit fun. Anyone who follows me, you know, on social media, especially my personal social media, knows that my husband and sons like to play tricks on me with the eggs. They know that I like my eggs to be stored in a certain way. I like them to be pulled out of the carton or the whatever the little container is in a certain manner. And if they go in and cook and use eggs, they will like change the shape and create it's like egg art. Like they are famous for egg art amongst my friends. And and so here lately they just have really been, you know, messing with my eggs. And my older son is in Puerto Rico. I talked to him on Thursday and he was cooking and he said, "Hey, you want to see my eggs?" And they were truly in a different shape and he knows I'm not for that. Um and so it's so funny. Everyone laughs at it. I give them a hard time and they love messing with me like that. And so I have a friend who I think she might be raising chickens and her kids bought her all of these little like a mug and earrings that were of chickens. And the mug had something on it where I was like, oh my gosh, I freaking love that. And she was like, yeah, you need to get it for your husband and your, you know, because your husband and sons mess with your eggs. And I was like, bet. So my little Geminian fun is I got this shirt. It says, I may look calm, but in my mind, no, in my head, I've pecked you 3 times. That is I actually have a son who's a Gemini, and he is hilarious. So I hope that made you laugh. Um, and yes. So let's get going. And also, I'll just be honest. It's part of the struggle that I'm having right now has something to do with emotions, you know? And so, yeah, a lot of times what I know about astrology is that it will highlight for us. Well, like, I might know astrology, but I still gotta walk it and live it. I say it that way so as to not bore y'all anymore. So part of the way I'm going to conserve my energy is I'm not going to be on camera, so I'll pull up the slides for you all, and, yeah, we'll go ahead and start going through what does this moon mean. So as you can see here, the moon is going to be on Monday, November the 27th at 4:17 a.m. Eastern time. I forgot to add on Eastern time, so it'll be early in the morning. I'd say that the full moon is Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And let me just double check something. Oh, also you can see scrolling at the bottom of the video that there is a new moon um, retreat. It's going to be on December the 7th. And it looks like that's the last one. Let's see here. Yeah, that's the last new moon of this year. I guess the Capricorn new moon is going to be, yeah, in 2024. So this is our last new moon of 2024. What do you think about that? It's Sagittarius. I really think it's gonna be a good one. I do. Um, so join me in that retreat. So let's see here. The moon goes into Gemini at 4:52 p.m. on the 26th. That's today. And it will stay there until late on, well, it's in a sign before it goes void, of course, on the 28th. So yeah, I'm just gonna go on ahead and count the entire day. The 26th, the 7th, and the 28th, those are the full moon days. So what is the full moon all about? It has to do with endings, culminations, revelations. So these are things that I recommend that you look for every new moon. Is there something that you're like, okay, that an end has come? And I'll talk to you about potentially when this could have started. And maybe it's not like the full end, but it's like you've achieved something. You've gotten further down the path. So you can look for that. Start looking now. What are you bringing to a close? What are you bringing to an end? And also revelations. I love the full moon for revelations because it's such a bright and energetic moon that you can see things that maybe you weren't able to see. Cuz the moon is our emotions, it's that inner world, that inner landscape. And so whenever we have that full moon, we're able to see more of what's beneath the surface. So, yeah, is there something being revealed to you with this moon? The full moon also is kind of a stressful moon. It's one of the reasons that people can get so emotional. And for this particular moon, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the water signs. Yeah, the water signs will probably be the most emotional of all the signs. But for everybody, this push and pull, and I always put that with balance. It's an opportunity for you to look to see, is something in balance or is something out of balance. You could look at yourself versus others and just kind of weigh, where are you in balance or where are you out of balance? Gemini has to do with the mind. So maybe you're in balance in some kind of way, or you're looking at, how are you doing with your mental health? How are you doing with your nervous system? Um, and with it being Gemini, it definitely could be this mental push and pull. I know the water signs might be emotional, everyone else, it may be something in the mind, like your mind is like going back and forth. There's two sides. You know how sometimes we say, well, part of me wants to do this and part of me wants to do that. Gemini is the sign of the twin. And so it could literally be there's something that that's really being highlighted where there's two parts that are not working together within you. So that's a good thing those are all good topics to look at during this full moon in Gemini. Okay, so I'm gonna put up what Gemini um represents as I start to talk about this specific full moon. Now let me go over here actually to the chart of the moon, which, you know what? I don't think I put up the chart. Just give me a moment. I'm sorry, I thought I was ready. And I will pull up the chart of that moon. I think I said 4:17 a.m. I always like to keep it in Eastern time zone because it happens there first. And yeah. Okay. So this is the chart of the moon. And you can see the moon is happening at 4 degrees of Gemini. The sun is over here in Sagittarius at 4 degrees. So 4 degrees, let me tell you the energy in that. That's going to be a Gemini Cancer energy. Gemini Cancer. And it's interesting because Cancer was a part of the new moon in um, Scorpio. So there's something about this Cancerian energy that's really important. And one of the things that I will always share whenever we're talking about Cancerian energy is it's definitely about like this softer touch, care, nurturance, and it goes back to working on the mind and bringing more care and nurturance and concern for your mind. So that is definitely something I think will be coming through. And actually, as you work with like try to figure out what you're going to do for this full moon, one of the things I would do is engage in your self care. Anything that brings care and TLC for the mind. Okay. So, Gemini, what does Gemini signify? Well, Gemini definitely is this energy that has to do with the mind. I'll go where I've already been talking about mind, mindset, mental health. So, you want to really see, is that what this moon is about for you? And it's also learning, and it has to do with skills. It's very logical, rational, and it's very much about information. And so maybe, this full moon is going to bring some type of information to you, or some of you may be finishing up teaching and learning. Maybe some of you all will say, okay, I need to recommit to my mental health and my mindfulness or meditation practices, anything that's more about getting that mind to not be like a runaway train. Some folks just straight up need to go see their mental health professionals, and it will be more evident during this time. Mindset is more of like this way of thinking. It's your pattern of thinking. And to a certain degree, mindset is your ability to be able to, decide what you're going to think. If you're going in the wrong direction, do you have that power to stop your mind from just running rampant in the wrong direction and take it in a direction that's more empowering? To me, it's all about, do I have the mindset that's taking me in the direction where I want to go, or is it taking me away from that direction? Beliefs is another thing that could really be coming up. Now, Cancer is family. So this could be bringing up something around, mindset given to you by the family, or you're like, my family, we're going to change our mindset. The way we've been thinking about something, we're no longer going to do it that way. It's not helpful. We're going to think about it in a different way. Bringing up family, it's also about siblings, cousins, friends, also neighbors. So it could highlight topics because Gemini is a social sign. So it could highlight topics around the people in your lives who fall in those categories. And it might be you, I don't know, something will come forth. You haven't been in touch with them, and then you are. It's communication. So maybe you're going to be communicating more with them, or there's some communication that hasn't happened, and it's like, okay, we got to have this conversation, we got to go on ahead and do it, or it just naturally happens. But it's definitely something around those relationships. It's a small group energy also, so it could be highlighting something about your small groups. Maybe you start saying something like, you know what, I want a small group that feels like a family, or you have a small group of friends and you're like, during this full moon, I feel like these friends are like family. They're more like family than friends. Cancer is an energy that has to do with getting things started and new beginnings. So it could be, highlighting some new beginning or something that is culminating from a new beginning that you've had. Uh, It's also, business. So this full moon can help people who are in business also maybe realize, something that you need to do in your business. It might, it's networking, so maybe it creates some networking, or maybe you have created a networking opportunity and you're like seeing it in its fullness now. So I really love that. This Gemini moon, if you need to network, it is definitely a moon that will you can open yourself up. If the networks aren't there, you can open yourself up to where you are now a part of where you're bring calling that network into you, or it makes you have like the courage and the confidence to go in there and network. Mars is a part of this moon too. Now it's opposite the moon, but it might just be kind of sort of like, you need to go and be around people more, talk to people more, network more, and you just haven't done it. But you can let the pressure that Mars puts on you, because Mars is in a position where it's creating pressure. It's like really pushing you to do something through pressure. And it could just be, I just don't want to be pressured anymore. And so you are just like, okay, I'm going to use this pressure to just go on ahead and do it. I'm just going to get out there and I'm going to start networking with people. This moon can kind of help you maybe get a breakthrough like that. Um, let's see here. Also, this has to do with technology. So you know, definitely let this moon help you in terms of calling in technology. One of the ways I like to use the full moon is the energy of that moon is so strong that I want to call that energy into me. If you need to be more Geminian, Gemini is also working with the hands and it's very skillful. So if you're kind of like, you need to take some action, or you want to use some skills, like your skills may be underutilized, or there's some that you want to learn, then you want to call in the energy of Gemini, because Gemini is very skillful and Gemini likes to tinker and work with the hands. If you've been struggling with the mindset, then you want to call in this energy of like let the energy of the moon imbue you with healing energy, especially since it has this Cancerian energy in it, to where it's working in the positive expression of Mercury, and not because hey, if this is about the mind, we can be talking about anxiety, right? So we want Mercury to express itself in a way where it is we're getting the positive manifestation of that. And so you can allow this moon to imbue you. And so mercurial energy is curious. And so can you open yourself up to be more curious about the world, instead of, some people are just like, this is just how it is, right? But part of the reason Mercury energy is, it's like the dragonfly. It's fun, it's light. A lot of people who are Geminian are like, "Hey, y'all, we're a little bit serious up in here. Maybe we want to get a little bit of a laugh." So, in part of the way that Gemini energy stays light is curiosity. This is the energy of, think about like a toddler and how magical the world is, and the toddler's just learning everything and doesn't always have an opinion on everything. And so if you may want to be calling that in, the world is so serious. I'm one who needs to call that in, that we need more Geminian energy to help us I just think it will be healthier as a result. Um, Also, let me just say this before I forget. Gemini energy is what we call mutable, and mutable has the ability to improve whatever is there. So Geminian energy, sometimes it doesn't come up with new concepts. It takes a concept and it improves it. So maybe this full moon will help you to improve something. You'll like the way to improve it, or you'll see how to improve it, but something about improving whatever it is in your life. Maybe it's the area where this moon is happening in. So that's something also to think about. You can use this moon to help you make improvements. And, okay, so Geminian energy is also about, walking. So I encourage everyone to do more to walk. And it's about the news and the media. So for sure, this is more on the world level, the collective level. There's going to be news. Something maybe we will something will be revealed about the news outlets, or it's going to be a very busy media cycle. I think it will be, just because when you look at this moon, right across it is right across from it is the sun and Mars, and those are fire planets. They're very energetic. Maybe we're going to hear news about the wars that are being fought abroad, because it's in Sagittarius, to be honest with you. There may be some news about religion and religious matters, or universities, because Sagittarius is religion, schools, colleges and universities, and it's also anything that happens in another culture. Mars is war. And the sun is a luminary. So it's part of the reason we're going to see everything, but it's in Sagittarius. So it's going to be highlighting that. You know, Something else that I'll say is that the planet that rules Gemini is Mercury, and it's in Sagittarius. So I honestly believe that, we will be hearing quite a bit about things that are happening in other countries. Sagittarius is also a diplomacy sign. So something about diplomacy talks, but it might be a little tense or something like that. But Mercury is actually not, it doesn't like being in Sagittarius. Its energies are polar opposite, because Mercury in Gemini is about small bits of information, and Sagittarius is the big picture. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Let me just finish this up. But yeah, it's a moon that I think won't necessarily be all fun. Though it will have its elements of fun, but it won't be all fun. Just because the planet that rules this moon is actually kind of like, I'm not feeling good up here, y'all. I'm actually not feeling real well right now. Oh, so yeah, it's about short trips and travel. And so maybe some of you all are going to go on a trip, or maybe you'll book a trip during this time. And that's exciting. And it's also about, roads and vehicles, or forms of travel. So it could be bringing up topics like that for some of you all. Some of you may kind of like, I got to solve this problem about how I get to and fro. Maybe it's something with your car, maybe it's something about the transportation system, but those kinds of things could be coming up also. And it's also about the local community. So some of you may be saying, hey, I want to get more active in my community, or you may be feeling like, yeah, you want to just get out and explore and know your community more. Or some of y'all might be realizing there's a change that's coming to your local community. Maybe you're going to change the neighborhood you live in, or you're moving from one city to the next one. So it could be something like that being revealed. It's also about daily routines. And I think that the main takeaway with the daily routines would be that everyone needs to make sure that they have daily routines that involve self-care, or that your daily routines are supportive of, your health and well-being. And it's, you know, it's definitely something about how you're operating from day to day that may need, you might see how it's kind of like, no, I got to change this. I cannot keep doing it this way. Okay, so let me just give y'all a few other details about this moon. So last year, this time, Mars was retrograde down here in Gemini. And so I want you to think back to last September. I'm pretty sure it was last September. Mars moved into Gemini, and it stayed there until March of 2023. And if you can go back and look at what was going on in your life, especially, I'm going to give you the times that were the most intensive, the top of October to, mm, you could say, well, it was around January 18th of this year. Mars was Mars was whooping us. I'm just gonna be honest. Mars was just, I was like, Mars is doing too much right now. I need Mars to not do this anymore. I need Mars to go on. But you want to think about what was the focus during that time, because as I see it, Mars was asking us to really take time to focus on our whatever that area of life, or whatever was coming up for you, is asking us to focus on it, because right now we're at a point where it's kind of like, I have achieved it, or okay, I feel like I'm over the hump and I'm getting ready to wind it down. And so you'll spend a year, the next yeah, you'll spend the next year winding it down, because next year, right around this time, if I'm correct, Mars will be in Gemini. So I want y'all to think about that. I want y'all to think about that. What has happened in the last year? And it could be completing it. Once I start going through the signs, this may, bring up more things for you to think about. But this moon might be highlighting something that you focused on last year. And yeah. So what is that for you? Okay, let's see here. What else do I want to? I have some notes, so I'm just looking through my notes to see. Okay. So yeah, this moon, because Mercury, which rules Gemini, is the ruler of the sign of Gemini, is in a sign that is called the detriment. It's in what we call detriment. So it can make us struggle a little bit with this moon. I think that Mercury is about small bits of information. And so Mercury a lot of times can see fine detail. And so I think that one of two things can happen. Either it's kind of like we see the big picture, but we don't have like all the steps. The big picture, the way we get that taken care of is through Gemini. Because Gemini takes the big picture and breaks it down into tasks and steps that we need to take in order to get the big picture taken care of. And the opposite is without the big picture, it's like, what are we doing? Like, we don't even know what the steps and tasks are. So we need Gemini and Sagittarius to be working together. So some of us are either lost in the detail, we're too stuck in like all the steps, and we've lost the big picture of the purpose of why we are doing this. Or like I said before, we're stuck in the big picture, but we don't have anything broken down into steps to actually achieve that big picture. So the other thing I want you to know too is that we have one, two, three planets in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is called mutable. Just like I mentioned with Gemini, mutable is changeable. I want you to think shape shifting type energy. Okay. And mutable energy is how things become better. The other two mutable planets, or signs, I should say, are Pisces, which has two planets in it. And then there's Virgo, which Lilith is there, but I'm not going to count Lilith. I'm just looking at the planets. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six planets in mutable energy. So this moon is very important to make sure that you don't get scammed. I learned from one astrologer, and I have just found it to be true. I hear more about people getting hacked. And so yeah, lock up your social media. If you've been like, oh, I need to update my passwords, do that. Because when it's mutable like this, a lot of times people get hacked, or scammers are just they just run amok. And the reason it's connected to scamming is because it's like I said, shapeshifter. Somebody's coming up to you presenting themselves one way when really they're not that way, right? So be cautious with this full moon. Once the moon is out of Gemini, it's still very mutable, but at least we're not in the full moon energy anymore. Let's see here. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. I do think that it is this moon can help you to see what to focus on next. And yeah, I think it can help you to see what to focus on next. And also it's important to allow yourself to feel the inspiration to keep going. Whatever this thing is that you've been working on for a very long time, may not necessarily be a project or anything outward. It might be working on yourself, your health, your well being, your mental health, your emotional health and well being spiritually. Could be something like that. But it's kind of like this is an opportunity for you to like remember your why, remember your purpose, the reason why you're doing this, remember the big picture. This moon, I think, can help you to be able to do that. I do think that this is a moon that, one of the things to do is to really be mindful of how you are feeling in your nervous system and to keep your nervous system calm. You may want to go out of your way. Like, what do you do to keep your nervous system calm? Because this moon could actually activate everyone's nervous system, and we all feeling kind of like anxious. Okay. I will say I think this is a harsh moon. I really do. It's a very harsh moon. It's not a fun moon. Gemini is just gonna do its best. um So check on the people in your life. If somebody needs to be checked on, check on them. All right, because folks may not be well with this moon. Okay, Saturn is what we call squaring the moon, and that's another reason why I was just like, this is not fun because Saturn is reality check. It's kind of like, okay, we're gonna use this moon to see really where are you, how are you doing. And a lot of this reality check is going to be internal. It might be kind of sort of like you kind of see where on the inside something is not organized, something is off. This energy of Pisces is like this energy of being a little bit, and I say this with respect because I'm a Pisces, but a little bit flighty. Pisces can be flighty. I've noticed that with myself. It's kind of like I have to do things to keep my everything just in my body, keep my mind, keep myself focused in my body. And when I think about the things that aren't getting done, that I keep saying, "Oh, I'm going to get this done," and then it doesn't get done. Saturn in this moon is going to be like, "We're getting ready to look at that. We're going to see what's on the inside of you." And it's kind of like your subconscious mind versus your conscious mind. They're gonna clash a little bit with this moon for some of us. So use this moon to make an inner shift that is needed to help create the outer results because that's what Saturn cares about. Saturn cares about results. And it's kind of like, I don't care if Mercury is feeling some kind of way right now. What I need for y'all to do is to get on a schedule and get this thing done. Oh, and Neptune is actually the day of the moon. It's called squaring. So it's a lot of energy of the square in this moon or significant squaring energy in this moon. And so Neptune and Mercury are squaring each other, which I do think that there could be some spiritual downloads that come um as a result. There could be some miracles that happen, but it's not gonna be it'll be more of like a miracle of like, "Oh my gosh, like my back was up against the wall and all of a sudden a miracle came through." It could be something like that. Um, It also could be more of like really people just it's almost, you know, flighty. People's minds just feel kind of like I think that it could be like, let me just get real with myself, and you open yourself up to receive a download from the universe, or it just comes to you. Like you probably won't even have to work hard for it. Where it's kind of like, I know I've been resisting doing this, but now I see the light and I'm gonna go on ahead and do it. Or oh, I lost my way and now I can see why I need to keep moving forward. And it's like this renewal, but it might come from something where you kind of had that reality check, or your back just kind of got pushed up against the wall. You would have kept going just the way you were going, even though it wasn't fully working. But you got pushed up against the wall. And now it's like, I've got to take action, right? But yeah, definitely just I say lay low during this time. It kind of stresses me to see transits like this. I'm like, oh my gosh. Um, okay, so the two malefics are impacting this moon. Like I said, Saturn is one of the malefics and it's squaring the moon. And whatever's going on with this moon with Saturn, it's something that you've already been focused on. Saturn went into Pisces in March and came in there with like, all right, y'all, we getting ready to get things neaten up in here. And so it's something that maybe has been going on since March, and it's asking for you to have more structure, to have a plan, to have more boundaries. And it's kind of like do some hard things, work hard, because Saturn is work hard. Pisces is like, oh, I'll just manifest it. Saturn is like, you can manifest it after you get this hard work done. So it's a tough energy, and it could feel like, yeah, like a reality check. And then opposite the moon is Mars. Mars is the malefic planet. It is the kind of planet that it's about a fight. And so it could be a moon where you are at odds with somebody. And I just want you to see it as purposeful. If you're at odds with somebody and you like, this really doesn't even matter, then just drop it. Because sometimes it could just kind of come up. But if it's sort of like, no, we need to settle this up, then I think it would be a great moon to go on ahead and have that tough conversation. But it does make us feel like somebody's poked us. Maybe somebody has said something harsh to us, or it could even be something happening in the world just kind of making us like weighing on our mind or whatever. But Mars is a poke. So we just that's one of the reasons why I'm like, this moon, it can help us a lot, but it won't be the fun Geminian energy that we're used to. And I guess, it's just not that. I mean, it's just what we need right now. Because this is no, it's not our last full moon. We'll have one more this year. So you can use it to take action, especially to be more organized. You can also use it to push yourself in a new direction or to finish something you started, um, but haven't finished yet. Let's see here. Okay. Also, I wrote down in my notes, a plan could come to you. Okay. It could be a plan will come to you on what it is you need to do. Okay. So that's what I have for the general meaning of this moon. And oh, wait a minute. Well, let me focus, Tyra. I'm going to go through the signs. I just need to make sure I remember I go back to those slides. Go back to the slides, Tyra. Okay. Let me pull up my little cheat sheet. I did not. I have a list of things I'm supposed to have, and I didn't go through that list before I came on. But you all are so patient with me, and I appreciate you. Boom. Okay, so let's go through the signs. Yeah. Gemini. Okay, it's the third house for Aries. Okay, Aries. So this full moon is going to be in your third house. And so definitely I think for Aries, it's important for you to get your mind slowed down a little bit. Now, something that I'll say is Gemini is about ideas. So it could be you get a lot of ideas that come your way. You want to get out a notepad and write them down. And yeah, write those down. Or if you're if you're in Aries and you've been writing something, this is a full moon where you could maybe feel yourself like saying, I'm just gonna dig deep and get it done, that kind of thing. And it might be that you are finishing up something you've been learning, something to apply your skills. I mean, you've been learning something and you're wrapping that up. If you've been learning new skills, you might either be finishing learning them or you are like, oh, I have really improved. I've used them so much that I've gotten much better at them. So that's a win for Aries. Um, definitely for you, Aries, there could be something around siblings and cousins, coworkers, and neighbors could be coming to the forefront where, again, it might be something that's a little bit rough just because this moon is not the most easy moon. But it's definitely could be a new beginning in there of some sort with them. You also may be planning to do some short distance travel or making short trips where you're not going very far for very long. So that might be something that's on the horizon for you. It may not happen exactly during this moon, but you'll be making arrangements during this moon. Could be that also. If any Aries out there are business owners or career focused, this is a full moon where something will come to light around business topics, networking, social media, and marketing. Maybe you'll get some good ideas regarding those. But yeah, definitely bring some TLC to your mindset, to your mental health. Aries. For Taurus, this is going to be, yes, the second house. So, Taurus, this is bringing up money topics for you. Maybe this full moon is going to have you say, hey, I need to, remember my purpose for my finances and why I've been focused on my finances, because when Mars was there, it made you perhaps say, "Oh, I need to be better at money." And I remember last year, I'm a Taurus moon. I remember last year, one of the things I did was I signed up for this class for people who have ADHD, which I don't have that diagnosis, but I relate a lot to people with that. And that class helped me so much understand what's the best way for me to manage my money. And I have kind of lost my vision on that. I've gotten a little bit lazy, gone back into my little Piscean, like, I don't work out. So that's an example of how that could look. It is also bringing up topics around eating and your health and well-being and self-care. So I definitely think that's going to be a focus for the Tauruses. And it also has to do with your personal possessions, your material possessions. You could be someone who is like, maybe there's something you've been trying to purchase and you're going to actually purchase it. Or maybe you're like, hey, I have too much stuff and I want to get rid of it. And you'll feel kind of like that urge to go on ahead and do that. And it's also about self-worth and self-value. So it could be bringing up topics around that. And it may bring up topics around that in a way where you feel a bit frustrated or it's something that's kind of poking you. But it's important for you to use this full moon to help you to recognize your self-worth and your value. So Gemini, this is happening in your first house. And, the first house is one of those houses where um, big changes are on the horizon. So maybe for some of the Geminis, you're recognizing a big change that's coming through for you. There's some new beginning that is either evident or it's kicking off. And you know, Gemini, I want to say for the last 3 years, yeah, easily 2021, maybe part of 2022, but I'm just really, yeah, no question, part of 2022 and this year. So yeah, the last 3 years, it's been a little bit rough on the Geminis. y'all had the eclipses there, so you had to make all of these new beginnings. Um, and then we had Mars there last year at a time where it was kind of like Gemini wants to be relaxed, and Mars retrograded in your sign, which, could have created all sorts of, it could have created inflammation in your body. It could have created where it was like difficult for you to relax, or something where, it's kind of like you feel a little bit hurt. And so I hope that this moon is kind of like that last little hump that will get y'all over and tie up some loose ends for you. So definitely take time to look at what's coming through, and just look at your health and well-being also. I think this is an important topic for you all, to really look at your health and well-being. But yeah, I hope that this full moon is kind of like the culmination where you kind of feel like, okay, all I need to do is just stay the course, and things are going to get a little bit easier for Gemini. That's my hope, Gemini. Okay. Now, for Cancerians, this is happening in your 12th house. So you're a water sign. And so you're one of the signs that this full moon could feel extremely emotional. And you could just feel like a lot of stuff is coming up from your past. But just remember, sometimes when things come up, the subconscious mind is saying it's time for you to handle it. You can do this. And it's coming up not to torture you, but for you to actually release it, resolve it. Now, this is a good moon for that kind of work right there. But you want to make sure that you're ready and don't let it throw you off. Um, the 12th house is also spiritual, so it could be a very spiritual moon for you all. And it also could be a moon where it's like this download of creativity, because Gemini is this energy of creativity for Cancerians. And I do think that this is a moon that could bring up overspending for you, or you may feel like the urge to just spend a lot of money. So just be cautious about that. Cancer, if you don't want to be overspending. And it's definitely this time to do things that are spiritual, like meditation, or that are working on your subconscious mind, such as hypnosis and NLP. I love this energy of Ho'oponopono, because it's this energy that has to do with this clearing of that which is not seen. Because the 12th house is, the energy of that which is not seen. It's hidden energy. So it just brings up stuff that's hidden. Or it can help, you can use this moon to help you to clear it. And lastly, I think that I want to say, there was one other thing I was going to say. Maybe it'll come back to me, but yeah, this is a healing moon for you all. And I think that Cancerians, y'all need to really just take it easy, be careful. This one actually sometimes can affect your health also, but it'll kind of feel like, I'm not quite sure what this is, to feel something like a weird something shows up. So just take it easy. Take it easy during this moon. All right. Um, Next is Leo, and this is in your 11th house, Leo. So the 11th house is nice. I like the 11th house. So it could be the Leos are figuring out that they are achieving their goals, even though it feels like it was hard as all get out to get them done. Because this moon is like giving us all a run for the money. But it definitely can bring, money. It could bring money from your career. It's a house that does have to do with good fortune. It could bring some good fortune with this full moon. It asks you to look at your friends, and, um, yeah, it could be bringing up topics around, it's more of like a vibe tribe. And it could be people that you're connected with, but it could be more of people who have the same interest as you. And maybe you've been looking for this community, you couldn't find it, you find it now, or something will be revealed to you about the community that you're in. And let's see here. It definitely has to do with technology, World Wide Web. So maybe some of the Leos are working on using technology in some kind of way. And this full moon, either it's done, or you are kind of seeing like what you need to do to get it done. I will also say, I think this is a full moon where Leos will get a little more clarity around what they want to focus on in 2024 because the 11th house has to do with your goals. And so it might be, oh, I achieved this in 2023. And I also see that I want to work on achieving this in 2024. It could be something like that. So, yeah, I think it could, be something also because the 11th house is a mental house. So it also, for some of the Leos, could be kicking off mm, something around learning because Aquarius is very intelligent. So it might also be highlighting something you've learned or something you're going to learn, something like that. So next is Virgo. This full moon is happening in the 10th house of Virgo. And Virgo, um, you are one of those signs where this full moon is pivotal. And so some of y'all will be getting some news about your career during this full moon, or maybe within 2 weeks of it. You'll be getting some new, some something pivotal or something that you've been working on achieving, but definitely there's something about your career. And or it could be what you're known for. Maybe you used to be known for one thing, you want to be known for something new, and this full moon is going to highlight that for you. So I want you to be open to career shifts and changes that might be coming your way, Virgo. And let's see here. What else do I want to say? It could bring up family topics also. So, because the 10th house is the house that sometimes can be related to the father. So, it could bring up topics around the family, maybe, something that you're going to need to do for the family. So, it may also change the relationship status for some of the ladies because the 10th house has to do with marital status also. So it could change your marital status. Some of y'all are going to realize, oh, marital status is changing. I do think that this is a moon where you may kind of feel like there's extra responsibilities just because Saturn is there. So don't be surprised if that comes forth. But you're Virgo. Virgo will just get it done. Okay, next is Libra. And this is happening in your ninth house. So, Libra, you got a lot going on right now. Okay. So, I want you to take advantage of this full moon because this ninth house is like, what direction is your life going in? You can see your life is changing and you're being asked to change your life by letting something go. And so the question is, as you release as you let go of stuff, what direction is your life going in? Or, what you're letting it go in order for you to go where? And I think this full moon is going to be able to help you to see that new direction a little more clearly. So, definitely use this moon for looking at the future and the direction you want to go. And also, the ninth house is spiritual. So, it could feel like a very spiritual moon for the Libras. And it's about this paradigm. And maybe you're going to be like, oh, well, I used to have this one way of seeing the world and understanding the world, but now I have a new way of doing that. This moon can reveal that new way to you. It is about foreign travel. So some of the Libras may be either going on a trip or you start making those plans and booking the trip to go to a different country. It's about learning, like, on a level where it's masterful, which is the opposite of what Gemini is typically known for, but it's for you, the ninth house is this energy where it's like you have an advanced degree or an advanced certification. So Libra, it might be something like that that's coming through where you're like, oh my gosh, I need to go on ahead and get this advanced certification or degree. Or you might say something like, well, I have been working on it and now I can see I'm finished. I hope that's the case for you. If you have any paperwork that involves, like you're working in another country or passport or something like that, you might feel the urge to get moving on that or to get it completed, something like that. Another thing about the ninth house is it is about publishing or publicity. So if you are a Libra and you need to publish a book or you need to do PR work for yourself, this full moon can help you to those ends. Or you'll say, I just published my book, or the PR campaign is kicked off and we're doing great. Lastly, this has to do with learning from a guru, sage, expert, or higher wisdom text. So that's something I would do if I were y'all. I would definitely be looking at higher wisdom during this full moon, Libra. But maybe you're gonna something will be revealed to you about someone who is masterful and wise, or maybe you're gonna step up and start being more of the teacher during this time, Libra. Libra can be a little bit shy, so maybe some of the Libras need to know, no, you're a master teacher. Get out there and teach. Okay, next is Scorpio. And Scorpio, this is happening in your eighth house. Oh my gosh. I did not like Mars being in the eighth house. That felt rough because the eighth house has to do with wounding and it's deep self-care. And it's one of these houses where it could bring up a lot of emotion. So Scorpio, it could definitely bring up emotion. It could be an emotional moon for you where you're kind of like thinking about your wounds. And it can make you want to just have deeper connections with people, or make you realize, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on deep connections. Where are my deep connections? Right. Um, the eighth house also has to do with crisis situations, chaos. It could be, bringing that up in some kind of way. But this eighth house is internal. So it could be internal chaos. You just want to just tell it to chill out, during this full moon, because it could just feel like it's just doing the most at that point in time. Um, it's a house that you can use for research. You can really do some in-depth studying, and it's a house that's also about the occult studies. It's about investigation. So it could be bringing up any of those topics for you, and where either you've done it or you see now what you need to do regarding those areas. It's also a money house. So I just encourage any Scorpios who are working on, say, for instance, paying off debt or setting up, your will or something like that. It's a great moon to focus on those types of topics. Some of the Scorpios are going to be getting word that maybe some inheritance is coming to you, or you actually receive the inheritance. Also, some of the Scorpios could be applying for money, like grants, because this is a topic or a house that has to do with grants and those fellowships, scholarships, those kinds of things. So some of the Scorpios could be getting that, or yeah, it could be it could be highlighting that. It's shared resources, so topics around money between you and your partner or a business partner. Anything where it's shared resources, Scorpio could be like, "Hey, we gotta sit down and have a conversation about this money." Also, it could be bringing up something around taxes. I don't know if I said that, so think about that. Okay, so Sagittarius, this is happening in your seventh house. Again, this is a house where some of the Sagittariuses are like a big change has happened with this full moon. You can see it. So that's something to think about, Sagittarius. And it's definitely revealing something to you about relationships, because that seventh house is a house that has to do with one-to-one relationships. A lot of times it's looked at as a house that has to do with your the person who's, your lifelong partner, your spouse. But I see this as just one-to-one relationships in general. Could be with a best friend, just people. These are not casual relationships. Or it could just be kind of sort of like this full moon is helping you to think about, man, in one-to-one relationships or scenarios, maybe it's not with people who you're connected to, but you just notice when you're one-to-one, something comes up in that scenario and you might want to work on improving it. Um, and this moon is going to bring that up. This is a house that has to do with balance. Sagittarius, I love you. And we all know That Sagittarius is like, go big or go home, right? So this moon could just be like, hey, are we going big all the time? Or do we need to rein that thing in, right? So that's something to think about, Sagittarius. It could be about coaching. So if there are any coaching Sagittariuses out there, this full moon could be bringing some type of revelation or culmination for your coaching practice. Let's see. Oh, yeah, definitely legal affairs are something that could be a big topic for Sagittariuses during this full moon. Yeah, the full moon. It is about refinement. And so, we talked about Gemini being this energy that makes something better. So you may want to use this full moon to refine something or to get ideas on how to refine a thing. And, yeah, just, it's fashionable, it's art, it's about harmony, it's a very diplomatic sign. So it could just be bringing up topics like that for you. And it might all be surrounding conversations that you need to have because it's Gemini. Now, Capricorn, this is happening in your sixth house, full moon in Gemini in your sixth house. So this is the house of problems. And so this full moon could illuminate your problems even more. Most of us know what our problem is, right? But sometimes it's like, I don't really want to deal with it. But this moon could highlight the problems. Now, let me tell you something good, Capricorn. It could be that you see you have been working on your problems, and this full moon is letting you know, hey, you solved it. Um, but yeah, it could just really highlight problems, but it's bringing them up so that you can do something about them. Maybe if you solve these problems, it'll be better for you when you go into the new year. It's also about your health and wellness and routines. So I encourage you to look at your systems and how your day-to-day operations and routines. What are those looking like? And maybe even bring in some of that Cancerian energy, Capricorn, because Capricorn is like work, 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 work. And Cancer is like, can we just take a break and relax and do some self-care? And then we can get back to that. So yeah, for the Capricorns, you might need to bring in something that it's more like you have more self-care going on there. Let's see here. Sixth house. It may even have something to do with your pets if you have pets or something with a volunteer organization could be coming up. Charitable giving could be topics that come up for you during this time. So yeah, Capricorn, work on your health and wellness. Oh, also it has to do with work. So some of the Capricorns may feel like, okay, I have gotten my work done, or you kind of see work coming in. Like this moon might reveal, like, dang, I thought I got it done, but there's more work to do. Okay, let me get that done. But it also may be you have been looking for a new job and now you have a new job or a new position where you are. Something being revealed to you about the workplace, something coming to you in that vein. Okay, next is Aquarius. So, Aquarius, this is happening in your fifth house. So, this is one of the houses where it's like a lot going on. It's a house that also has to do with good fortune. So you too may also see some good fortune come through Aquarius. And it has to do with children. So it will be bringing up topics around your children, the children in your life. Maybe some of the Aquariuses who want to be pregnant will discover they are in fact pregnant, or maybe you've been wanting to adopt a baby and it's like, oh, all the paperwork is done. We're closer to the adoption being final, or maybe it's already finalized. But it's also about romance. So it could be bringing up topics around that for you. Maybe you've been dating somebody and something will be revealed to you. Maybe the person is like, hey, I want to take it, a step further, or, oh no, I don't want to be with this person anymore. But it's also about play. And so definitely get out and play, Aquarius, and have some fun and enjoy yourself and tap into what makes you special and unique. I think it's a really important time for the moon for you to just take stock of what makes you special and to let yourself shine, because you potentially could be somebody who is like really highlighted and shining during this time. And let's see here. Also, some of the Aquariuses may have their own business, and you're like, hey, I want to go on ahead and you'll be your business is like really taking off. It's like a hobby turned into a business, or maybe you really want to focus on your hobbies a little bit more. It's like, yeah, because it's been a little bit rough for the Aquariuses. I ain't gonna lie. So the Aquariuses, you might use this moon to rededicate yourself to to fun and hobbies. My husband is an Aquarius, and I noticed that, he went to he went backpacking. That's what he loves to do. He loves backpacking, and I was watching him prepare for backpacking, and oh my gosh, he just has so much fun doing that. So I just hope that the Aquariuses are able to reignite their passion if you lost it for your hobbies. Um this might be a moon where you do take risk. So, I just say calculate them and don't fall for a scammer. Aquarius, check and triple check. Okay. So next is Pisces. Last but not least is Pisces. So Pisces, this is happening in your fourth house. Oh my goodness. Pisces, this could be a very emotional moon. I can already tell you this gonna be an emotional moon because auntie, I am a Pisces and I am feeling all of the emotion. So just Pisces, I think for you, go take some walks and do your mindfulness practices during this time. Like, what do you do to soothe your mind? That's what you need to do. Oh, I love watching comedy. So maybe some of the Pisces need to turn on something that makes you laugh because um, Gemini is a sign that has to do with comedians. A lot of comedians are Geminian. So, yeah, really take care of your mental health during this time. But it is highlighting some new beginning regarding home and family, your ancestors, and your emotions. So maybe some of the Pisces will kind of feel like maybe you've been doing some emotional healing and you've really gotten far in that. Or there's something new about the home. Maybe some of the Pisces are moving, or you realize, okay, it's time to move. Um, that could be something that's coming forward for you also. It might be that you want to start working with your ancestors in a new way, or you hadn't been working with your ancestors and now you're like, "Oh, I'm ready to work with my ancestors." So that's something else to think about, Pisces. This is a house that really brings about a big shift and change, and it's at the bottom of the chart, so it's in the foundation of your life. So it could just be there's been something that you've been changing. You want to think about like fundamentally, you were one way, but now you're a new way. You're different. And maybe when Mars was there last year, your core, your foundation got rocked and it was like kind of like all shaken. And that's what happened to me. Now that I think about it. And this year it feels sort of like you've put the pieces back together again, even though it's not exactly the same foundation. It's a new one, but you're gonna be able to see that. Or this moon could just make you like, hey, foundation is shooketh. And now, you're going to have to be working to understand what do you stand on? Because we want a foundation, especially emotional foundation that the rest of our life can stand on. And if you Pisces have emotions and your subconscious mind is just full of limitations and limiting beliefs that your life is built upon. Just think about the story of the three pigs. This is like really and truly emotionally, what is your life built upon? And is it going to support your career? Is it going to support the rest of your life? And so this full moon can help you to really begin to look at that. I do think Pisces, you're one of the ones that needs to be cautious of scammers and just really, you know, lock up your social media and just be cautious with this full moon in Gemini. Okay, so I wanna go back to I remembered, I'm so excited. I thought I had affirmations. Okay, so yeah, here are some affirmations that you can take with you before I start on the reading that I did. And as you look at that, I just want to take a quick sip of water. Okay. These are excellent for this particular moon. And also, I'll come back to these. I just want to remind you all that there is a Sagittarius new moon mini retreat Thursday, November the 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And the link is in the description box. But yeah, that's something I didn't say. And I am going to bring myself back on camera since I'm so close to the end. That's something I need to say about the full moon. It is a time to celebrate. So, what are you doing to celebrate during this full moon? So, I encourage you to really look at your wins, because when we don't look at our wins, it's almost like a closed loop, and we just stay kind of caught up in this loop of I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing enough. So I have to actually oftentimes take stock um every day because I am quick to say, did I get anything done today? It's just my mind. My mind doesn't remember everything that I do by the end of the day. And before I know it, I am like, I didn't get anything done. And then once I start writing it all down, it's like, oh my gosh, I got a lot done. But you have to train your subconscious mind. We are malleable. And if we don't take the time to, you know, do what this, like create and refine and improve, like look and see what's there and take us, assess what's there and take stock of it. If we don't do that, then we are sending a message to our subconscious mind that we don't win. And so it's important for us to send a message to our subconscious mind. It is crazy for us to think that you know, it's this notion of, oh, don't be a braggart. Don't talk about yourself too much. Yeah, humility is important, but where the game is that's being run on us is to think you can never give yourself an at a girl, or, for the other people out there, at a boy, right? At a person. You can never do that. And that's insanity. Astrology has built in through the full moon the importance of taking stock. Here we are in the season of Sagittarius. It is so important. Like Sagittarius reminds us the importance of gratitude. So I just want to encourage you all to make sure that every full moon, you write down what you're grateful for. What have you achieved? What has happened in your life that you are thankful for over the last 30 days? I encourage you to do it daily, but for sure, stop and look at your list that your intentions, your goals, what you want to manifest. Look at those lists. Go through. Is there something you can check off? And when you do, I want you to write on there, yay, even just take a moment to, yay, I did it. Do that kind of thing, because it is informing your subconscious mind that, oh, she likes to win. More of that. She is very successful. And that's how we begin to, bring more ease and flow in our manifestations. It's not always work, 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 work. Some of it is just program the subconscious mind. We win. I win. I am so good at life. I'm good at what I do, even if it's something very small. It doesn't have to. I always tell people, you don't have to be Oprah. We weren't born, everybody ain't born to do what Oprah do. But that doesn't mean that what we do is less than what Oprah does. We just don't have to do it in the way that Oprah does it. Okay, so let's look at our reading. So the first one that I pulled is, I'm going to put these other glasses on. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I look better on camera with these glasses. But these glasses right here are my blue light glasses. So I like when I'm looking at the screen for a long time to look at those. So the first card that I pulled for this full moon is the illusion card. So what illusion are you falling under? What have you blown out of proportion? That's oftentimes what that card is about. It's kind of like, you're seeing things one way, but are they really that way? So let's see what this says. Actually, this is the moon in Gemini. Oh my gosh, this is the moon in Gemini card. And it says that this silly little girl is armed to the teeth against the furious imaginary rainstorm she perceives to be lashing at her from above. In reality, there's just a tiny rain cloud passing overhead. It's a beautiful sunny day. So, where do we need to see it's a beautiful sunny day, right? But we're only seeing that rain, that big stormy cloud. So, through the lesson of her example, she urges you to pay attention. What are you holding dear as your reality is likely far from the truth. It's time to expand your horizons and put out your feelers beyond your limited mental perceptions and see the humor in your illusions. I will say, we've talked about Gemini being fun and funny. Can you laugh at yourself? It's like, oh, I'm so serious. It's not even necessary. Ha ha ha. Can you laugh at yourself? There's a bigger picture to be seen when you are no longer fooled by appearances. So, like I said, some of us might be missing the big picture. Okay. This one I thought was very interesting because it's the energy of courage. And, the sun is a part of this full moon, of course. But this card has to do with Mars, which is also a part of the full moon. So, yeah. That's that. I did not mention that when I was talking about Mars. Mars is about having courage. Maybe I did mention it. I don't know, but it's definitely a moon that is asking you to be courageous. But this kind of moon, I mean, this kind of courage is kind of like under pressure kind of courage, right? Okay, so let me pull up the meaning of this card, and we will be about it. All right, we're gonna be about this card, baby. Okay, so this one. mm, It says the maiden is here to celebrate the courage you have found to face your inner demons that you may confront with sureness and fortitude. All of the outer demons in your life. So facing the inner demons to confront the outer demons. It's that inner work that I talked about that Pisces is bringing in here. It says here, dance through life, letting your passion light the way. Give yourself full permission to be freely who you are without limitation. Like this fun, beautiful, creative woman, let every cell of your body be ignited with your uniqueness and express it to the world. I do think that, Mercury is a sign that has to do with expression. It's very communicative. So maybe this moon is going to give you the courage to be expressive in some creative way. But yeah, how can you be courageous? What is this full moon asking? How is this full moon asking you to be courageous? And the last one that I pulled, Aditi. Aditi. So Aditi is the great void. And the one thing I remember about this card is she is the void just before a big change happens. So, mm-mm-mm. She comes during the great void that precedes transition. She is the emptiness that must be acknowledged when the way before you is dark and unclear, helping you to face the unknown with surety and without fear. Aditi allows you to see the result of your actions. Oh, okay. Before acting, to use the fertile seed times to gain new perspective and access fresh ideas. I think that's a very important sentence for this moon. She's going to help you to see the results of your actions before acting. So, this full moon can help you maybe to see something before you actually do it, which makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. She also lets you to use the fertile seed times to gain new perspective. That is definitely something that could happen. You can gain a new perspective during this moon and also access fresh ideas. I do think fresh ideas will come to many of us during this full moon. She also holds all possibilities for your future, which becomes clearer through self reflection and understanding. So, again, I really think that this moon is going to help us in getting more clarity, all of us, and getting more clarity about where we want to go in 2024. Before your world is manifested, Aditi brings all possibilities to you for creating the world of substance to come. That makes me happy. This is one of the reasons I do these kinds of readings is because yeah, it makes me feel hopeful, which we're in the season of feeling hopeful. But when I see a moon that's kind of rough like that, it's like, "Oh my gosh, can we just have it easy?" I mean, can't we? Can't we just have it easy? So, yeah, just want to share that with you all that I do think that this moon is it's maybe a moment for a pause. Yeah, a moment for a pause, a moment where there'll be a void. We have that Piscean energy in there. Um, and then it's so much about future casting with the DT. And, we have this energy in Sagittarius. So, yeah, use this full moon to just, yeah, I think the revelation part is going to be key for this moon. So, I wish you all a wonderful full moon in Gemini. May it be a blessing to you and yours. And I hope that you go full out with your full moon rituals. And I would love it if you would let me know what are your takeaways from the video and just what stood out for you. Any plans that you have for the full moon? Chime in. All right. Thank you all so much. And yeah, I will see y'all in the next video, or I hope to also see you in the new moon retreat on, December the 7th. Take care. Peace and love.